Thrilled to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, there is much confusion, so many questions and queries, changing rules by the day. Rules for travel, restrictions, quarantine, vaccine certificate needed or not needed, RT-PCR test needed or not needed. All of this is right now changing as we speak. In the light of the new Omicron variant, which is now being detected in the world, and more cases are emerging across the world, there is much confusion as to what the policies will be. And as the concerns grow for this new variant, various states are actually bringing in more stringent restrictions for travelers coming in from these at-risk countries as well as other countries. Some states even bringing in tough restrictions for domestic travelers. And not all of this is actually in line with what the centre's overall guidelines for foreign passengers are, and which is where some amount of confusion is happening. Now, what is the central government's rule for if you are a traveller from one of the at-risk countries? At-risk countries essentially covers United Kingdom, almost all of Europe, and about a dozen other countries. And if you're flying from any of these to India, you need to take a COVID test upon arrival. Passengers have to mandatorily undergo 7 days of home quarantine. If your test report is negative, then you do a retest on the 8th day. Continue to monitor your health for the next 7 days. If your test is positive, then your sample has to be sent further for genome sequencing, and the rest of the steps that are usually listed with anybody who is a COVID patient. Now, along with the centre's guidelines, some of the states have brought in their own set of rules, and which is where the confusion is now coming through. Delhi Airport has issued new SOP. International passengers arriving at Delhi Airport will have to undergo a COVID test there. They have options of either doing a regular RT-PCR, which will take some time and cost a high amount of money, or there is the option of paying higher money and getting your test results faster. Avni, in fact, is joining me from the newsroom. For all of the travelers who are landing at these airports, Avni, they will have to get tested there. Now, many have actually raised concerns of how when people start crowding at the airports themselves, it could become a problem. But what's the setup like, and what are the prices we're looking at?
Well, that's right, Tanvi. So essentially, this is now going to be mandatory for anybody who's coming in from high-risk countries, especially with regard to this new variant. The RT-PCR test is going to be something that they will have to do as soon as they arrive, and they will not be let out until the results of those RT-PCR tests actually come. So how is it going to work, and what is the cost implication that we're talking about here? Let's start with Mumbai. Now, in Mumbai, the regular RT-PCR test, that will cost 600 rupees, but you will have to wait for 6 hours to get the result of that test. But the other option that we were talking about, which is the urgent RT-PCR test, essentially it's the same test, but you pay more money for it and you get the result faster. So simply put, it's more convenient because then you can leave sooner. So essentially that, however, but it costs 4,500 rupees, which is quite steep, but that will get you the result much faster. Similarly, in Delhi, again, you're looking at a cost of about 500 rupees for a regular RT-PCR test that will, make you wait about 6 hours. But the urgent test will cost you about 3,900 rupees, and you'll get to get the result in just 2 hours as well. Now, let's also move on to the other city, which is Bengaluru, where again the RT-PCR test will cost 500 rupees. That's the regular test where you'll get it in 6 hours, the result, and the urgent test, which will give you the results faster, will come in about 60 minutes, but again you have to pay about 3,000 rupees for that. So across the board, across cities, these two options will be there for passengers who are arriving. The second option, of course, the urgent RT-PCR, is much more expensive, but it will allow you to exit faster rather than having to wait 6 hours if you take the regular option of the RT-PCR test. Tanvi.
All right, Avni, thanks for breaking that down for us for the few of the big international airports. And if you land there, what are the options that people will have? We'll wait and watch how it progresses from here. Of course, in the light of the new variant, travel itself is expected to go down. The government already has decided that they're not going to further open up the airspaces in terms of more flights. That was supposed to happen from December 15th. That's not going to happen now. For now, whatever are the flights that are running between the various 30-odd bubbles that we have, those continue to run. There is no decision change in plan there, but we'll have to see how the situation progresses from here on. Now, let's talk about some of the states. Maharashtra, for example, came out with its own set of guidelines, quarantine guidelines, advising passengers from at-risk countries to undergo 7 days institutional quarantine. And then it went a step ahead and also said, even if you're a domestic passenger, if you're landing in Maharashtra at the Mumbai airport, you have to mandatorily undergo the test. Here's Radhika with more details.
Maharashtra government has issued stringent guidelines as far as air travelers are concerned, both domestic as well as international. I'm at the Mumbai airport now. As far as the guidelines go, all international passengers arriving from at-risk countries will have to undergo a mandatory 7-day institutional quarantine, RT-PCR test to be carried out on day 2, 4 and 7 for these passengers. If any of the test is found to be positive, they will be shifted to a hospital. Negative, they will have to undergo a further 7-day home quarantine. Passengers from any other countries except at-risk countries will have to undergo RT-PCR tests. And it's not easy for domestic travelers either. They will have to undergo RT-PCR test before, departure. In fact, they will have to carry a negative RT-PCR certificate within 72 hours of departure. As far as Mumbai airport guidelines go, and as far as the facilities are concerned, yes, they are fully equipped. They say they have RT-PCR labs, they have registration desks and booths, which are completely in place as far as Mumbai International Airport is concerned. And also, passengers have been segregated into risk and non-risk categories. So yes, strict guidelines as far as Maharashtra government is concerned, as far as people arriving from outside of the country and within the country into Mumbai is concerned.
Now, after the central government actually wrote to the Maharashtra government asking them to ensure that the SOPs, the rules are really brought in line and are not in divergence with the centre's rules, the Maharashtra government did change its protocol as far as domestic travellers is concerned. Earlier, they had said that irrespective of what your vaccination status is, you will mandatorily need an RT-PCR test. Now, they are saying that is not required if you are already somebody who's been vaccinated with both of your shots, then it will not be necessary. Now, what happened is that the central government actually wrote to the Maharashtra government saying, your rules are in divergence with the centre and we urge you to align these orders with the health ministry and what the health ministry says, such that there is uniform implementation across states and no confusion. They also said that when you change your order, please make it, please give it large-scale publicity such that people know, otherwise it's going to cause chaos and confusion, which is essentially what we're trying to do here by telling you as rules stand now. What changes tomorrow? I wouldn't know. But let's also tell you about what's happening in some of the other states. This is as far as Maharashtra is concerned. Here's Mugilan with Tamil Nadu guidelines.
After the identification of the Omicron variant, now several new guidelines has been put to the all airports all across the country by the union government and by the state government. And as far as the state government in Tamil Nadu is concerned, now several new guidelines has been given. That is, if anyone who is coming from the risk country category, they have to definitely undergo an RT-PCR test when they have to exit. And what Tamil Nadu government says is that if anyone is coming from the risk country, they have to take an RT-PCR test and they have to wait at the airport until the result comes. And if it is negative, they will be allowed to proceed to their home, where they have to self-isolate for 7 days. And again, on the 8th day, there will be another test for them. And only after it is being tested negative, they will be allowed to end their isolation. If it has been tested positive, then that sample will be sent for genomic sequencing and he will be kept in an isolation ward that has been specified by the Tamil Nadu state government. And apart from this, now the Tamil Nadu state government has also appointed nodal officers in all the 4 airports where international passengers are expected to arrive. So these nodal officers will coordinate with the airport authorities to ensure the implementation of the guidelines that have been issued by the Tamil Nadu Health Department.
So that's as far as the current situation is concerned. Of course, we also got reports coming in from various airports and the passengers who were landing. Not everybody was being checked. So even though some of these rules have been put on paper, not all of them are actually straight away getting fully implemented. Of course, the staff on ground also needs to be clearly communicated what the system is for somebody who's arriving from which part of the world. Now, let's say good evening to Subhash Goyal, Chairman for STIC Travel, Dr. Vishal Rao, Member for the Karnataka COVID Task Force, joining me this evening, Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, Chairperson for Center of Social Medicine and Community Health, member of the National COVID Task Force with me as well. Let me actually first up go across to Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta for a larger idea of what our travel policy should be. Quarantine, mandatory quarantine, voluntary quarantine, vaccination certificate enough, need to do a test on arrival, what should it be? Dr. Dasgupta, I think you're on mute. You'll have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think the first takeaway from this report is that there are two kinds of RT-PCRs, the normal and the Tatkal. Anyway,
Yes.
now on a more serious note, what I wrote in my column today in Deccan Herald, I titled it Omicron, the Map and the Terrain. Now, essentially, we have the genetic map and we are imagining the terrain. And the terrain is going to be shaped essentially by three things: the transmissibility of the virus, the virulence of the organism, and its capacity for immune evasion. Now, none of these things we know or we have any concrete information. This is emerging evidence. And I would honestly hope that policy making would be evidence informed. Now, essentially, what's going to happen is that such measures are most unlikely to be able to stall the entry of a variant or a subvariant. And world over, the experience is that, well, it may succeed to some extent, but essentially, to get back to the terrain issue, Omicron will stand a real chance if, and there are two ifs. One, if the fatigue in community mitigation strategies, which is hand washing, respiratory etiquette, indoor gathering, etc., those, and the track test treat strategy are not really quickly shaken off. There are fatigues in this, and that's really going to determine the outcome, assuming Omicron is able to dislodge Delta as the dominant variant. Thank you.
All right. So an interesting fact that you said. In fact, jokes aside, it was a little confusing when we got the information from the airports about RT-PCR tests and rapid RT-PCR tests, because we're so used to just knowing RT-PCR and rapid antigen that for a minute, all of us were wondering, well, what is it? And then we realized it's just a Tatkal version. Pay a little bit more, and you don't need to wait for 6 hours. In 30 minutes, you have your results. But Dr. Vishal Rao, like I said, several of the states are wanting to bring in tougher norms. The center has brought in its own set. We're also now looking at a possibility where more states would want to bring in tougher barriers, even for domestic travel. So far, we were under the impression just a vaccine certificate will be okay. Will that not be enough going forward?
Thank you, Tanvi. I think the most important thing what Dr. Dasgupta earlier alluded to is the map of the Omicron, and using that, if you look at it currently today, it's at 20 countries. So what you're talking about as high-risk countries today is just expanding by the day. It was 14 just a couple of days earlier. Now it's at 20. It's just going to keep jumping. But the truth of the matter would be that I think Omicron is traveling faster than Delta. And today, if you look at even the WHO stand on it, they took us a couple of months to declare Delta as a variant of concern. It's just taken them a few days to inform about Omicron being a variant of concern, clearly showing the possibility based on data that they have from genomics and mutation about its capabilities. Now, I think it is safest not to underestimate these capabilities, and that's why WHO has put globally a high alert on this particular virus. At this juncture, travel of any form, and primarily, I think international travel is something we have to be extremely cautious about at this juncture, because if we open up the international borders much strongly, we will be keeping the country vulnerable. We know how we've started off with the Wuhan strain, we have with the D614G, and how from 1 to 100,000 lakhs, we've then had Delta, we've had thousands and lakhs of deaths. So the most important thing I would say again is vaccination is very, very crucial, but even the latest data for Delta shows that it has only got about 50 to 60% efficacy. So here we are dealing with a strain which across the countries has not even reached thousands. It's just in double digits currently. So at this juncture, to take it lightly would be a little premature. And I think we need to exert a lot of caution before we kind of lax our measures in travel at this
So
juncture.
let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, Dr. Rao. Should the measures really be different from what we are deemed as at-risk countries right now and not? Because we don't really know what's the status in other countries. Maybe they just didn't have as great a surveillance method as South African countries did.
Absolutely. And that is what I wanted to say, that every day, if you look at the number of countries that are changing, it's just jumping up the numbers. So at this juncture, every country potentially, because it's a global village, would be at potential risk in some form or the other. And we know of people who travel from one country to the other country. So you may, based on this announcement, have people travel from a high-risk country to a low-risk country and then come to our country. So I think we need to have a lot of vigil at this juncture.
Okay, now let's talk about what is the ground reality right now and how is the travel industry really handling this. Thank you so much, Mr. Goel, for joining us this evening. Can you give us an insight of how chaotic the last couple of days have been, and what is it that travel agencies are right now telling the passengers about the days to come?
There is confusion and chaos. I mean, people just don't know what is happening. And I do agree with both the doctors that, yes, we need to secure our borders. But at the same time, where we are so motivated on our borders, the facilities for doing the RT-PCR, I was just seeing in one of the airports, there are only 4 people. Whereas, when a plane lands, you must have at least 50, booths to do the RT-PCR tests, so that in a queue it can be done faster. And then I don't see the logic of home quarantine. If you have had both the vaccines and you test negative, that means you're free to go. I mean, or you can wait for, 24 hours or something at home, and then you should be free to go. Because, and I don't understand how they have taken the negative list. As far as the African countries are concerned, it's fine. UK, I don't know what the reality is. But Singapore is one of the safest countries in the world today. And they are increasing their flights because they have been able to put their house in order. They have managed the system so well. I mean, that the moment you land, there's an app which you have to download, and that app tracks you. And once you are negative and you have had both the vaccines, then you're free to travel within the country. The only problem is that it's very easy to close the borders. But once we close the borders, then are we securing the population that is there? Are we enforcing the using of masks? Are we enforcing that, in markets and even in shopping malls, a lot of people are moving without mask, or the mask is under the nose. It's only as a showpiece. So we need to do everything together. It has to be an integrated approach. You can't have knee-jerk reactions, because this virus is not going to go. This is the 3rd variation, 4th variation, 5th variation. There will be many variations of this virus. And like common cold, there is no cure. Only prevention is better than cure. So to prevent, we need to, closing the borders is not the only solution.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to be strict on the borders. But I got a WhatsApp today from a passenger who said there was so much chaos it took 1 hour for they had paid in advance everything, and they are more likely to get COVID while they are waiting to be vaccinated. You see, and no social distances is maintained at the airports. So, closing the borders is not a solution. You have to slowly open up the borders and at the same time be ready to test everyone. And once, what is the use of vaccinating 1.2 billion or 3 billion people when we don't have confidence on our vaccines? That means
Okay.
or everything is a
Mr.
farce.
Goyal, what you're asking
see-
right now is a very important question because many are wondering so. Why did we take 2 shots if that's not going to help us, travel easier? If we still have to do mandatory institutional quarantine for 7 days, do 3 other tests, pay so much more. So it's a valid question you asked, and I want to take this back to Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta to try and also understand
and before
why
that-
we can't take that risk. I'll come
Before
back to you,
that-
Mr. Goyal, for more.
There is a news item.
Yes,
There is a news item that it is it is spreading rapidly, but
it's
the
milder.
reaction is very
Yes.
mild.
Yes.
So without waiting for we are just taking, reacting to rumors and reacting to, this. Let us wait and see the situation. Let us, in the meantime, test every passenger that comes. And if the passenger is found negative, you can put the passenger in isolation.
Yeah,
But
I think as far as the problem of
not be stopped.
as far as the problem of crowding and long waits at airports is concerned, the authorities should be able to figure that out. Like 18 months, 20 months into this pandemic, we should be able to resolve those issues after initial few days of hiccups.
Yes.
Now comes the larger point. Let me ask Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta about the rationale behind it. Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, is it because we don't know to what extent will these vaccines be effective on Omicron?
Of course, we don't know the extent to which the vaccines will be effective, just as we don't know many things. And that's the evidence that's going to emerge. But purely from the airport perspective, there are broadly 2 approaches to containing COVID, which countries have taken. One is the zero COVID approach, which Australia, New Zealand, etc. adopted. And we know what their shifts in position have been. And India falls into the mitigation strategy approach. Now, we can't take a mitigation strategy and behave like a zero COVID strategy. I think that's one big conceptual confusion. The second is that variants have always traveled under the radar. Even the last 1 week has shown us that. And unknown to many, hundreds of variants have crossed international borders, state borders, district borders, and they have come and gone, done and dusted. So this is, and Omicron is not the end game. There are going to be many variants. So there has to be a lot more rational and an evidence-informed decision into where exactly we are going to invest our resources and our energies.
Yes.
An airport is not going to give, the kind of energy that we are putting in is not going to give commensurate dividends. Notwithstanding the adage of prevention is better than cure, etc., which it is.
Okay. So you're saying it won't, but right now all the energy seems to be focused at the airports, at the entry points. Let me take it a step further, Dr. Vishal Rao. Here is a query that I've seen many people ask. The fact that this variant is already in 20 nations, as you also pointed out, and counting by the minute, right now most countries are only allowing vaccinated people to enter. That's the rule. For most nations, you have to have your vaccination shots done before you enter. Does this mean that there is also a bigger question mark and the fact that perhaps the variant has only spread through the vaccinated people?
So I think, Tanvi, I would like to answer this by first addressing to what Mr. Goyal alluded to, that are we not confident about our vaccines? I think the main thing that we are not confident about is about the variant. We are very confident about the vaccine. And I think the world has to be applauding every single effort done by these vaccination companies who have actually brought this to light in such a short period. The data shows that no matter what, the vaccinations have been created based on the first D614G formula. So naturally, the latest data, even which has come out recently in Lancet from the All India Institute, shows that the efficacy of this against Delta could be around 50% up to 60%. And this is what even global data is reflecting. So at this juncture, what we know from all the global immunologists and virologists experts is that adding a booster dose further enhances your immunity, does not decrease it. And there is a race between the vaccination and the variant. So it would be wrong to assume that vaccinated people are the ones creating the variants. It is the unvaccinated people who are creating the variants.
Yes.
And this is very important to understand that in this race of the vaccination versus the variant, it is the vaccination that is winning. And we have to now bridge the global inequalities so that we make the world overall a global safer place.
Okay, so yeah, that is a fair point, that obviously there is variants are emerging in clusters and regions more where people are not vaccinated to that extent. But how is it moving around? And I think just to add to Mr. Subhash Goyal, what you were asking is that even if we are vaccinated, it doesn't make us 100% immune to the virus. It reduces the chance of us getting a serious extent of the illness. It reduces our chance of getting hospitalized, or it reduces fatality chances. And that's what we're protecting. We're trying to save lives via vaccines. It doesn't mean that people who are vaccinated may not be carrying the virus. That being said, you wanted to make a point, Mr. Goyal?
No, all that I want to say is that, 2 years we have suffered COVID. All the businesses have either been locked down, and more than 25,000 people in the tourism industry are without jobs. We had a little relief, a breather, with the opening of scheduled international flights. Now, I don't want more people to die of economic starvation than will die of COVID-19. We have to strike a balance between the economic necessities of the country and the balance of protection. 2 years, I think our Prime Minister and India has done a great job in vaccinating, most of the traveling population of the country, double vaccines. I mean, nowhere in the world 1.2 billion. Now, if they have been vaccinated, and those people who have been vaccinated all over the world, and there is a VTL flight, which is, which takes only passengers which are vaccinated completely. The aircraft is the safest mode of transport to travel. The airport has all its, health and precaution norms. And once you are screening the passengers, I mean, firstly, I strongly oppose this, relocking of our borders.
Yes.
Because is that a guarantee? Can anyone guarantee that the variant will not spread? It will still spread. You may lock everything. You may remain in the house. There are people who have remained in the house. Still, you cannot stop the air from traveling from one place to another, right? So people have suffered COVID. But because of vaccination, it's a very low risk. So now, after 2 years of remaining under lockdown, it is high time this country opens up. And the doctors will agree with me that, the air travel is like the blood vessels flowing into the body. If the blood vessels are choked, you're going to get a heart attack. And that is what is exactly happening to the economy.
Yeah.
Right? And today we need funds to fight borders, to fight wars, and the economy needs to be strengthened. And therefore, we need to open the borders. At the same time, I do agree that we need to screen the people. We are the IT capital of the world. Why can't we have an app which can trace every person who's traveling and who are the people, like Singapore is doing? I have a tracker on my phone, and even if they go to the shopping mall, they have to show, the QR code. So everything can be tracked. Today, with artificial intelligence, you can do wonders. But no need if the COVID or if a person is diseased, you try to cure him. You find various methods.
Right.
You don't kill the passenger.
No, so I understand what you're saying, and
borders,
this is also the
economy.
crucial time. The crucial time.
An intelligent balance.
Right.
जोश हमारा है ठीक है जोश के साथ हमें होश से भी काम लेना है.
I think the problem also is, Mr. Goyal, right now we don't know enough and no government is willing to take risk.
We have not been able to put our act together. I'm sorry, we'll never be able to put our act together. So I think the Prime Minister and the Civil Aviation Minister, and in consultation with all the scientists and the Health Ministry and the Home Ministry, they took a very intelligent decision. But now, suddenly, for political reasons, the state of Delhi and state of Maharashtra have created, this bogey. And under pressure, we have closed down our borders. I think
But Mr. Goyal, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think at this point any government wants to really take a chance of saying, oh, we allowed everything to function as normal. Tomorrow, when the variant spreads at a large scale and they struggle to implement with their systems, then they don't want that situation. You are right, and our experts are also saying is even if we manage to delay it, the fact of the matter is that this variant is going to spread across the world. But we don't know enough right now about it, about how light, moderate, serious will it be, how much more transmissible or less transmissible will it be, what will be the impact of the vaccines that we've already taken, how quickly can we change our vaccines if we need to do so. So many questions for which answers are still unclear. There are initial indications and the world is only reacting to that. But whatever the rules and regulations have to be, they cannot be in a knee-jerk manner. They cannot be because the rest of the world is taking those decisions, and they cannot, absolutely cannot, change every day unless the facts that we have changed. And if the facts haven't changed, there is absolutely no reason why there should be confusion about what Maharashtra is doing, Karnataka is doing, Tamil Nadu is doing, Delhi is doing, what the centre is telling us, and what is happening at the airports. That absolutely cannot happen as we enter the second year of this pandemic life. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for joining us.
कोशिश इतनी सी है बस कुछ ऐसा कर जाए हर चेहरे पे खुशियां.
What's common to these smiles is the technology that connects them. Smart technology from Kirloskar.
केंद्र शासन की जो भी गाइडलाइन है उसी मुताबिक राज्य शासन ने अडॉप्ट की है. जैसा कि अगर कोई लोकल डोमेस्टिक पैसेंजर है तो उसके लिए 2 वैक्सीन्स है तो वो ट्रैवल कर सकता है. बाकी कोई RT-PCR की ज़रूरत नहीं है. और मुझे लगता है कि सिर्फ हाई रिस्क जो कंट्रीज़ है उन कंट्रीज़ से आए हुए जो लोग हैं और वो अगर कनेक्टिंग फ़्लाइट से डोमेस्टिक इसमें कोई ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं तो उसके लिए ज़रूर 10-15 दिनों की जो ट्रैवल हिस्ट्री है वो देखी जाती है. और अगर वो फॉरेन से आए हैं तो निश्चित तौर पर उनको RT-PCR करना ज़रूरी है. 7 दिन का क्वारंटाइन करना भी ज़रूरी है. और उसके बाद फिर RT-PCR करके वो निगेटिव है तो वो अपने अपने काम के लिए जा सकता है. इस तरीके का निर्णय महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने लिया है. एक स्पेशल नोटिफिकेशन इशू किया.